What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, we got to talk about the end of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's been a journey, and we might make some jokes here, we might not, but I think you can definitively say, like, what a ride. It might have been a great ride to the very few people, I think, that actually think that. To most people, I think it was either a very, very bumpy ride or just an awful ride, right? And again, there's quite a bit to get to, starting with kind of the lead of this final season and the finale of the Suicide Squad content in, oh, I had the wrong side here, Deathstroke. He looks freaking awesome. So may I just say, I don't know if you're necessarily going out on a high. I wanted to tweet that, right? Like, oh, they're going out with a bang. I don't technically know that because, to be honest, I haven't actually stepped foot back in this game since the base game released. I never went back for Joker, etc., Mrs. Freeze, etc. So I don't know if, like, he's going to be a blast to play. There's, like, a 15-second small, like, gameplay clip of him, like, sliding around and kind of doing, like, an ultimate type finisher thing, and he looks cool. He does look cool. Honestly, though, a lot of them have looked cool. Mrs. Freeze, in terms of, like, the movement and things like that, a lot of it has looked kind of fun, but then I remember, the gameplay is not atrocious, but it's like, it worked for me for a couple hours and then it kind of fell off. And that was my opinion when the game came out. I imagine that's still going to be my opinion now. So I don't know how it's all going to work. So before we get too far in, like, what this all means, the future and all that jazz, let's look at what the actual content is. So season 4 begins December 10th. You got the 2 episodes, right? 7, 8. So not making it beyond episode 8. And, you have Deathstroke, obviously, as a new playable character. You got some new sets and things like that. So the biggest thing to me, besides Deathstroke, obviously he's pretty big, offline mode. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But then you get episode 8 balance, mid-season update, all that jazz. So I don't know, hard for me to get, again, too excited about all of this stuff. A couple things. Offline mode, very important. I've been sticking up for this aspect of this game for a while. No matter how much a person likes or dislikes, not just this game, but any game, I think that there almost needs to be built-in protection that every and any game that comes out needs to have offline mode. It's a piece of history, and that's kind of how I look at it, whether it's for the good or bad, right? Like, whether you've liked this game or not, it deserves to have a place where you can go back and experience it in some way in 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I just feel like that's important. And I said that for Redfall, which I think is a worse game than Suicide Squad. I've stuck up for any game, really, that doesn't have an offline mode that needs to get one. I've always advocated, that it happens just because, again, there might be an opportunity where we want to kind of go back and examine the history of this thing 5, 10, 15 years. And if this game was an online-only thing, which it has been up until this point, it's clear based off what we're about to talk about next, they're done. They're finished. Like, they're not updating this thing past January. And I mean, I kind of just spoiled it, right? So this thing is ending. I don't know if the date, I swore I saw a date like mid-January. Could be making that up in my mind, but by the time January comes and goes, and by the time we get to the 1-year anniversary of this game, the game will be done. There will be no more updates. They're not supporting it anymore. The only, I guess, tidbit, like add-on type thing to that is, like, it's not shutting down. That's kind of another day, I guess. There's still one more part to this, right? And it's the day that the game shuts down. Now, because of the offline mode, thank God, in that way, the game technically can never shut down. But the online portion, I do think one day eventually ends. And I don't think it's all that far away. Like, if they didn't do an offline mode, I couldn't see this thing getting the year 2. And I mean, like, 2 years after the game comes out. If you told me 2026 that this game was still running, I'd be pretty shocked. So I still imagine within the next year or so, they shut off the online play. But not having to play online is a pretty good sign. And, that kind of leads us to the finale of the story, right? Hard to call this game a success in any way. And, I always try to stick up for, like, the people that enjoy things, even if other people don't. I think that's important. I think that everybody's got their own taste, and we might not agree on them. And people might get more, like, violent or aggressive with their takes versus other people's takes, including even my own. I do think it's fair or important to say that kind of stuff, but I don't see how you call this thing a success. I think this thing has been a failure from the beginning. It's sad. It's because I didn't want it to be a failure, but here we are. And it was supposed supposed to go beyond this. That's the thing for me, where it's like they're absolutely cutting it short and then kind of waving the flag, right, and saying, okay, we're done. We're literally going to be finished with this game. No more content after January. And honestly, I don't even know how they've managed to do this up until this point, because we don't know. But what we have heard from like Jason Schreier and stuff, like it probably was something along the lines of the game came out, it didn't do well, and then Rocksteady, through the force of WB, pulled people from who were supposed to be working on this additional content. They pulled them, and we probably didn't even get everything we were supposed to get in these seasons, and then there were definitely supposed to be more seasons beyond it. Why were there supposed to be these kind of seasons in general? I don't know, but I mean, this wasn't, I don't think this was the plan. So, in a way sad, in a way maybe good that we can finally, and I mean, honestly, I kind of look at it in that way where it's like, let's just put it to bed, right? People aren't really playing it. I mean, you'll see a pop up here and there, but the legacy of this game is not anything I think to smile at. It's not a good legacy. It's something that you've got to learn from. You can be mad, you can be, whatever you want to be online about it, but they specifically need to learn and forget. You need to drop all this stuff from your memory, but you can't forget like the mistakes. You just kind of have to move on. You have to move on from it, and you have to improve in the future. And can they do it? We'll see. It's what we talked about a lot, right? I think they get I think they deserve / should get one more try. One more try, do something, probably an Arkham game, whether it's remaking Asylum or a new one. Fix it. Fix your situation. You're not the team that made the Arkham games in the first place, so you might be screwed anyway, but at least have a chance to do something kind of special. And if you can't handle that, I really don't see where the studio goes in a positive direction. I think it only is bad. So we'll see, I guess, how they kind of end it story-wise, if Kevin Conroy has any last 2-3 I've kind of built myself, I built in my head that this was going to be some sort of cool thing. I mean, after seeing what they did, with Flash and etc., they only have a couple lines. So I am interested that when Batman does, and I imagine he comes back right here, right? Is Kevin Conroy get 2 lines and that's it? And we've kind of been waiting for that for a year, and then that's all we get. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but that's something to kind of keep an eye on, just because I think that interests, a lot of people. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.